I'm D, and this is D Mine's Garage. In this episode, we're going to talk about the fact that it's winter and it's cold, and you need to heat your shop when you work in it. Hey, it's getting cold outside. You should heat that button up by hitting it. Hit it. Hit the subscribe button.
Now that we're down in the single digits, about how long do you want to be in the garage before you're going to bother running the heat?
It varies. If your garage is attached, it's normally warmer. A detached garage, depending on the size, can take a while to heat up, and it can also be expensive. If you're not keeping it heated all the time, to go out and work for half an hour in a large area, you're never going to get it warm enough unless you're doing something quick that you're going to be in and out and you know it's going to be cold. Kerosene heaters usually work well to heat a large area. Unfortunately, kerosene is slightly expensive, and you're also breathing partially burnt kerosene, so therefore it's not really great for your health. A lot of them will have dedicated furnaces to heat the garage space. The newest trend is actually to use waste oil burners. This way, they're not paying for that fuel, or they're supplementing their fuel usage with that waste oil if they're producing enough of it.
What can an average person use to heat their garage?
Kerosene heaters such as forced hot airs or wick heaters. You can also use propane units. Unfortunately, propane units, an 18-pound tank, usually you only get about 6 hours out of it. They're good, they're hot, and the smell isn't nearly as bad, but you are still burning stuff and it's not being vented outside. Also hook up electric heaters, and those will get hot, and depending on the unit, they'll put out enough BTUs to heat a larger area.
So you just have to basically price it every year and see what's the cheapest and most
Yeah,
efficient.
kind of. But see, here's the other problem: is you don't want to turn around and constantly buying. Oh well, this year I'm going to buy wick heaters because kerosene's cheaper. I'm going to go buy. And the other thing is, you're looking at how many dollars you're spending to how many BTUs, because that's basically what you need to know.
And what can you do to help make that area more efficient without paying a ton of money?
One area or one thing you can do is actually carve off an area. Really high ceilings, you got to remember heat always rises. So it'll be hot up there, but when you're laying on the ground or anything else, it's going to be cold. Plus, the bigger area, the more it's going to take to heat. You're dealing with a lot of metal objects, so they're going to get cold, and it's going to take a while for those things to heat up. They will also give off cold. You'll pick up a nut or whatever, and it's going to be really cold. The other thing is when you go picking up nuts and bolts to reassemble stuff, that'll be cold, and it will suck the heat right out of you. Another good thing to do is to work in layers. Build, when I say in layers, I mean dress in layers. Thermal underwear, if you know your shop is not going to be super warm, or you don't want to pay to get your shop up to 70, 75 degrees or whatever. Occasionally there's times when you have to do that. If you're painting or certain other things, you need the shop to be warm enough, otherwise paint's not going to flow right, certain chemicals are not going to flow right. But dress in layers. This way also too, if you start to get warm, you can take off a top layer. A lot of times what I'll do is I'm wearing a clean layer, I'm wearing a base layer, a clean layer, and then I'm also wearing a dirty layer on the outside because I know I'm going to be rolling around in mud and dirt and whatnot. Therefore, that outside layer is the only thing that's really getting dirty, of course, unless you know, drop a bunch of oil on your chest or roll around in a mud puddle and soak through. But
We don't know anyone who would do
yeah,
that.
ain't no one.
What would you tell somebody who was just starting out? It's their first time they're going to try to work in their garage really for more than an hour in the winter.
Generally, especially if you know you're going to be doing certain things, is to tarp off a really small area and a small kerosene heater. You can usually pick them up for about $150 to $200, and a normal 20, I think it's 2350 BTU kerosene heater will heat almost 1,000 square feet. It takes a bit, but if you can basically build yourself a little plastic cocoon with plastic tarps and whatnot, you can heat that little area where your workbench is or anything else that you're going to be, and basically build little sections, because you're never going to be doing, or you're not normally going to be jumping around from job to job to job. You're going to go out, you're going to work for a couple hours doing one certain thing. or in one certain little area. If you're doing wiring harnesses, if you're building motors, and this way it'll also help keep just that area warm. But like I said, dressing in layers and that kind of thing will also help. If you have any tips, comments, or suggestions for people that are getting started, or stuff that I didn't list, put it down in the comments.